Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. I'm just going to do this quick review of Time Rabbit had put out this video compilation thing. It was a conversation between Darth Dawkins and P.Z. Myers. And I think this was from a while ago because this goes through a whole arc of things. I think this might have actually happened back in February. And it involves a back and forth between Darth Dawkins and P.Z. Myers. And then P.Z. Myers, I think, he wrote a blog post on his blog, which is fairly well maintained. And somebody brings that to the attention of Darth Dawkins, and then they go over it. And talk about a few other things after that. They obviously have some criticism about P.Z. Myers' writings after the fact. But some of the stuff that starts up from the beginning is kind of classic, Darth Dawkins rhetoric. And P.Z. Myers is a professor of biology, I believe, evolutionary biology, I think. I can't remember what University of Minnesota or something like that. Anyway, but he's a pretty outspoken atheist, and so he'd gotten into some of these AMAs, and he got wrapped up into this stuff. And this is him talking to him. So I'm going to play this and then go through it a little bit, and then I'll pause it when I've got some points to leave. So. Let me see here. All right, going.
All right, without any further ado, he's my friend. He's a Christian. He's been following your work for, I don't know, maybe 10 years now. I'm not sure. He goes by Darth Dawkins as a moniker, and he would like to ask questions on mic. Darth, take it away.
Hi, Dr. Myers. You're well known for being an outspoken atheist. Is your atheism the kind that you deny the existence of God, or is your atheism one where you're just unconvinced and you're neutral?
Oh, it's somewhere in between those two. Yeah, I will deny the existence of any of the deities that have been proposed, because none of the believers have presented me with any of the evidence to support their very specific supreme being. I can't outright deny the possibility of, a guiding intelligence out there. But I will be pretty forthright in saying that no, it's not the Catholic God, it's not the Muslim God, it's not the Buddhist, whatever they have up there. It's that all of the false conceptions of God are false.
So you believe then that it's not necessary then to reference God as the precondition of facts?
Why no? Why would I?
Okay. Keep in mind what he just said there. I'll take that back just a half step and play that again.
So you believe then that it's not necessary then to reference God as the precondition of facts?
Why no? Why would I?
Okay. Well, since you believe that, that logically entails that God cannot logically coexist in that world. So then that entails your position is that no creator God exists. How would you?
That would only apply if your epistemology and ontology were the same thing. If you can only know things that are true or believe things that are true, then yeah, that might actually be the case. But if you can believe in things that are not true, or you could be confused about things or wrong about things, then that's not an issue. So what Darth is doing here is this kind of classic thing that I think he goofs up with his general proposal for this. It doesn't matter whether or not I reference God when I reference facts, if those facts themselves reference God. If God is the foundation for the ontology of everything, then the fact is that all those things reference God by definition. He's responsible for their existence. That the idea that my knowledge could be limited or perverted or corrupted in some way where I wouldn't do that doesn't seem like it's that controversial a thing, given the definition between people who are in sin or saved or saints or whatever, right? It seems like it should be the case that we would be confused by this. The idea that he's doing this kind of thing, like, well, it logically entails that that God can exist because you say that there's no foundation that he believes is necessary. Then yeah, it's just going to fall apart. This is some classics smuggling in of lots of different concepts from Darth, and I don't even think he understands the grounding of where he's getting some of this stuff from.
You defend what your position entails, that there's no God?
The way I would defend it is to, first of all, point out the whole question is sophistry. That I've heard this kind of reasoning before, and it's usually somebody who has talked themselves into some very narrow definition of how the universe must work, and think it's entirely logical how things must be resolved. And so, no, I don't find that convincing at all. And I don't find it even very interesting.
What did I say? What did I say specifically that was sophistry?
The whole thing.
Could you be specific? Well, you said that
the whole point. The whole point you're making. Okay, go ahead. You asked me, but I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
You told me that you believe that it's not necessary to reference God as the precondition of all facts, right?
Correct.
That logically and necessarily entails the falsity of the existence of God.
No, it does not. No, it doesn't.
P.C. Myers is right. It doesn't. It just means that somebody is saying that, you know, that they're not, because this is the problem that Darth's making here. Like, he seems to be blurring this distinction between whether or not a person is referencing God when making those, when referring to those facts, or whether or not the facts themselves refer back to an existing God. If he was more clear about this, he would probably get less irritated and less, you know, pissed off and less Darthy. But he doesn't. He usually will just try to use this. And I don't know if the ambiguity is a result of like him overlooking things, or if it's just a result of him. That's part of the build. Who knows?
I will explain it to you. I will explain to you why it does. Okay? God cannot logically coexist. Well, do you want to hear it or not? I mean, do you have your mind already made up?
I don't want to hear it because I don't find this line of argumentation at all convincing.
Okay. Well, why don't you let me finish?
No, this is classic. This is classic.
If you're an outspoken atheist, you should be.
Okay, wait, just a second. Dr. Myers, do you want to continue with this person?
Not really. You know, whenever I encounter a creationist who starts trotting out syllogisms, it usually means I'm going to get a long line of nonsense. You know, in this case, for instance, he says that, you know, if
want to continue that question, correct?
That is correct. Say goodbye.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Ads. Oh, Time Rabbit.
Look, Darth, I'll do you a favor, okay? I don't like P.C. Myers in the server. How about that?
So yeah, so that's about as far as they get. Canadian Catholic kind of like wraps this up. Canadian Catholic, there's actually another video, a more recent video that Time Rabbit did, where it shows Darth Dawkins kind of excoriating Canadian Catholic for not allowing him to just like beat on these guests that Canadian Catholic brings in. And he's just sort of demanding, like, why do you give them an out, right? And in situations like that, where P.C. Myers is clearly getting kind of perturbed by this, Canadian Catholic's like, hey, do you want to continue to do this? Or would you like to move on to something else or whatever? The reason that Canadian Catholic is doing this, and I don't know why Canadian Catholic himself didn't offer a more robust defense of himself when Darth Dawkins decided to beat on him over it, was that if he's gonna have these people in the server, he's involved in whatever Discord server this is that gets some of these guys in there. The idea is to give them an opportunity to engage in a little bit of one-on-one, a little back and forth, but not to let somebody like Darth Dawkins like monopolize their time and just spend like the better part of an evening browbeating them into this weird, you know, dialectic that he's got. So P.C. Myers is kind of losing it. You know, you can hear that he's like lost patience with it. He's not interested in this particular exchange. Canadian Catholic comes in and sort of like, yeah, you know, do you want to continue to do this or whatever? These guys talk about this later on. I don't know like what the relationship is in terms of time between like this particular just, you know, back and forth between Darth Dawkins and P.C. Myers and other people. But there is a video that Time Rabbit has where Darth Dawkins is taking Canadian Catholic to task on the fact that, like, you bring these people to me and I start talking to them and then you bail them out. You come in there and you rescue them or whatever. And it's like, he seems to be a little too dense to realize that the reason that that's happening is like, I can offer this up for a little bit of fun, a little bit of show and tell, a little bit of entertainment, but I can't let you beat on these people and then expect to ever get them back again. There's a very good chance he's not going to get them back again if they realize that this guy is sniffing around the same pond, right? Just waiting to like trap them in a bunch of, you know, rhetorical gobbledygook. So Canadian Catholic, for whatever reason, doesn't offer that defense of himself. Like, I'm letting you have a go at them because I know that's going to pull in viewers, but I'm also giving them a ripcord to pull out of it, so that hopefully we haven't lost any goodwill and they'll hopefully come back for more. right? That's the whole point. Darth doesn't get this in later discussions and stuff. I probably should have pulled that video up instead. But in this case, what these guys end up getting into later is they point out for Darth that they found a blog post for Mr. Peasy Myers, and they start to talk about it, and it is kind of funny. So
He's not going to come in, and if he does, if I do talk with him again, he'll flee like the coward that he is.
No, but he'll come if I ask him.
No, what I'm saying is, yeah, not knowing, but if I start talking with him, he'll flee because he's a gutless coward. He demonstrated what a feckless little coward, unless he can control, okay, the direction of the conversation or monologue, like in a debate, then he folds. Was it not clear to you and everyone else how he completely folded upon questioning? And in fact, he's so arrogant, so uppity, he couldn't even control himself from making guttural noises into his microphone.
Projection.
And then I said nothing about my beliefs about creationism. Okay, I just simply questioned him about what he stated.
Making guttural noises into a mic. Okay, maybe that's a little low class, but referring to people as panty waists, or having their panties in a bunch, or being trans, or being fairies, or being sissies and ninnies and these kinds of things, the kind of stuff that hasn't really aged well. Those are the kinds of derogatory statements that, good old fashioned, Quaker Oats Darth Dawkins likes to traffic in. So taken on balance, the quote unquote guttural noises of a Peasy Myers, I'm not gonna snowflake on that. That's not gonna trigger me. But there's some shit Dawkins does when he gets good and pissed off. When he starts calling people the F word, just to do it. Anyway, we'll go on.
He believes and its ramifications. And immediately he got his panties into a twist. Not that I'm suggesting that he's a closet transvestite, but he did get his panties into a twist.
Did you read him blogging about you?
Boom, right there. I'm not suggesting he's a closet transvestite, but he got his panties in a twist. Very passive aggressive and transphobic and dickhead. Way to go, Darth.
No, I didn't.
He blogged about you.
Wow, that must have really pissed him off. Do you have a link?
Who are we talking about?
Peasy Myers, the firebrand atheist who folded in less than 3 minutes of questioning.
Wait a minute, he wrote about you?
Yeah. Yeah, he blogged about Darth.
Keep in mind, this video, he says, Peasy Myers folded when asked 3 minutes of questions. But in a later video that Tom Rabbit does, which you can find on Tom Rabbit's show, he is criticizing Canadian Catholic, ripping into Canadian Catholic for not allowing him enough time to question these people. So simultaneously, it's the fact that Peasy Myers ran from him and Canadian Catholic shielded him from Darth. It's amazing.
Oh, this should be nice. We gotta check it
Well,
out.
send me the link. I want to see what this jellyfish had to say.
Here, this is it. Should I just DM it to you? I'm blocked. I
Just
think.
put it in Atheist Helpline.
Really? There. Darcy called you a logician.
Okay. All right, let me read this. Okay, let's see.
It's not really
I mentioned earlier that I've been on this philosophical checkmate Discord server. It was an odd experience. A few trolls, a rather eclectic assortment of Otair positions, a large group of people who politely lined up to ask questions. I went ahead and uploaded my copy of the conversation. So if you're rather hardcore, you can listen to an hour and a half of random Q&A. I wanted to single out one point, though. Early on and scattered throughout, there appeared to be a type, a kind of person I'm going to call, for the sake of putting a handle on them, logicians. I can't stand them. They appear among creationists and atheists and theists and skeptics about equally often. You know them, they're typically the debate me bros who have some gimmick that they can't wait to try to get out. This just shows you what a wuss he is. Okay, there was no gimmick there. I simply asked the question, okay, do you believe that it's necessary to reference God as the precondition of all facts? And he said, no.
He's not getting it, right? Like this is not connecting with him. He doesn't realize that he's running a shtick. Like this is some internalized narcissism at this point. Like he doesn't realize what's happening here. So it's always fun. Well, not always fun. It's always interesting to see somebody lack complete self-awareness. But in this case, he's doing that, and it gets weirder.
No. And so I simply pointed out what the entailment was. But because he did not want to acknowledge the entailment, which
the entailment that he pointed out wasn't. I think he's getting his entailment wrong. P.Z. Myers answered based on what I think he thought he heard. But Dawkins is running on a weird other level. So
would put him in a position of having to defend positive atheism. Okay, he wants to call it a gimmick. I mean, this is how immature this guy is. Ray Comfort is, for instance, so you know you don't have to be logical to play the game. His gimmick is a gotcha question. Have you ever told a lie? Then you're a sinner. You need Jesus. Lots of atheists play it too. Street epistemologists are worse. They have a set of pattern that's supposed to lead you to the logical contradiction between your claim, what you claim are your values, and what your values actually are. To get you to admit that you were wrongity wrong, and then I mean this is like the rantings of a teenager. Oh gosh. Let's see. Guess what? Okay.
So basically, he's attacking anybody that seems.
this is not the rantings of a teenager, because not all teenagers have been exposed to both of these kinds of rhetoric. And Antonio here, who's popping up here as 35-year-old virgin, who is always a source of entertainment, weighs in here, gives his 24 karat gold contribution.
To have like
This-
questions.
Well, what he just wrote is really just substantive less. Okay, an angry teenager could have written that. Okay, we're already bundles of contradictions and incoherent views, every one of us. We have developed cognitive mechanisms for coping. Witness all the end-time fanatics who see the prophesied date of the apocalypse pass without a big kaboom and then struggle briefly to rationalize it before reaffirming their beliefs with minor revisions. We're not creatures within. I've learned to recognize the logician. They come up to you with a smug tone in their voice, prepared with a clever syllogism, and that they're sure what will totally stump me. Typically, they start by announcing something obvious that they know about me, like, you believe it's not necessary. Okay, he's quoting to me. No, I didn't assert that. I simply asked him a question. Do you believe? Okay. So they announced something obvious to me, like, you believe it's not necessary to reference God as the precondition of facts.
He didn't. The way that Darth frequently asks the question is an assertion. It depends on what mood he's in and whether or not he's being careful. Sometimes he will ask them about it, but in order to get his wording out, it's easier to assert it. You believe this. You assert this. So
The 15-minute, 30-second mark in the video. I know instantly that they're about to unroll a canned script on me. When I say yes, as they know I will, they then try to launch into Act 2 of their script.
Look how he tries to make himself sound.
What's that?
I said, look how he makes himself try to sound so intellectual in this. Wow.
Yeah, so far he hasn't said anything substantive. Okay, he's just simply trying to. Well, so far it's
What are you reading?
poison the well, if you will. Okay. Okay, Act 2 of the script with a statement like that logically entails, which it usually doesn't. In the video, he obviously tries to trap me, claiming that because I acknowledge that I don't know everything, and acknowledge that maybe there's some cosmic force. See, now he's completely changed the topic. Did you see that? He goes from the logical entailment to me talking about what is fundamental or ultimate. Okay, so he completely switched
he didn't.
topics there. Okay.
What are you reading from?
P.Z. Myers wrote a blog referencing his appearance in Philosophical Checkmate and his interchange with me, which sounds like a more whiny, crying temper tantrum of a teenager.
Notice.
I'm looking for the
I was
date
going to
on
say.
this.
Notice he says they'll say it logically entails, and he doesn't even finish the sentence of what it logically entails.
Okay, so I'm not seeing.
That, from Parakeet, is a fantastic way of missing the point. Like, well, he missed the point of the point he was raising. No, the point was somebody's coming up with him and running one of these scripts on him. That's the point. And Parakeet's like, well, he didn't even get into the issue of the question. No, the problem is, what's the motivation behind the question? What is the structure of the question that is being asked? He's even stating in his blog that a lot of these questions are being asserted at him, right? They're not being asked. Like, hey, why do you believe this? Why do you think this is the case? Do you think this is the case? Like, so you must believe that this is, this, thus, and so is what necessarily follows. Oh, do you? All right. Well, then, you believe in meaninglessness, and therefore we can't trust you, right? Something like that. So I love Parakeet's like little, his contribution to this is just to be like, well, P.Z. Myers didn't even deal with the point. Like, motherfucker, P.Z. Myers is talking about the conversation, not about just the contents of the conversation, whether or not he was actually going to get into it or not. Like, try to keep it in scope. I don't know who Parakeet is, but buy a clue.
The date on this.
It was right after the debate thing.
Yeah. So
It was on February 28th.
That's when the AMA was?
AMA was a little bit before February 28th. I think it was
So-
on.
Okay, so he wrote this 2 or 3 days afterwards?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, he was so troubled by it that he had to blog about it. Okay. You know.
Right. It must have been the case. It must have been the case that he was troubled about it. Notice that, like, he was triggered. That's the only time people talk about Darth and their interactions with Darth is if they've been triggered or disturbed by him. That's kind of telling. Like, if they just, like, I kind of wonder about this. Can Darth point out a conversation that he's had where someone has later on gone to their blog, gone to their YouTube, and then talked about the enlightening conversation that they've had with this evolution false Darth Dawkins Duncan atheism fellow who led them down this path of rhetorical perfection that led them to a better understanding of the Christian faith, a better understanding of Christian apologetics, and that they are so thankful for the positive impact of Darth's logic, rhetoric, and guidance that they couldn't help but be effusive about it. They had to tell people, like, it's such a positive thing. Has this ever happened? I'm genuinely curious, because by and large, from Christians and atheists that have ever run across this guy's bad side, and as far as I know, those are the only sides he has, people react to this guy the same way most people react to a virus or a bacteriological plague. Like, it's usually like strong and offensive. So if someone can show me where they've been like, oh, even Otangelo Grasso, who I've been having a conversation with over the last few weeks, who's been looking to Darth Dawkins as a source for learning how to run this kind of presuppositional argument, acknowledges that Darth's style is not good, that his rhetoric is too offensive, that his demeanor is often too antagonistic. He will usually pepper any of his conversations or any of his points that he wants to make about Darth's approach to this particular philosophy or this particular apologetic with a caveat, which is, Darth, I think, is too hostile. He is too openly vitriolic against people. He is too judgmental. Even he's doing that. And he's openly, honestly telling people he's looking to Darth Dawkins for guidance in this apologetic. And even he has to give, qualifications. So, yeah, if anyone can find a testimonial from anyone that has been, quote unquote, positively impacted by what Darth has had to say, other than just being left in either total confusion, despair, depression, rage, or any other negative emotional state that you can think of, please let me know.
Please, somebody send him a link to.
No, he has a recording. He has a recording of.
No, I understand, but he probably somebody gave him a link to my commentary.
Oh,
okay. It's just the audio. I put a painting of my nephew Michael Myers on it, so you have something to look at while tearing your hair out. Well, first of all, he didn't. Wow, this guy is short fused. Wow. I guess that comes with the extreme arrogance. Okay. All right, let's continue here. I have to find the spot where. Okay. In the video, he obviously tries to trap me, claiming that because I don't acknowledge to know everything and acknowledge that maybe there is some cosmic force out there I don't know about, that's a logical inconsistency with my rejection of his particular definition of God. I have no truck with that BS. I just sent him away. So in other words, he just declared that just a couple of questions was BS because he couldn't come up with a standard atheist cliche or catchphrase. I didn't hear him analyze what was said. He should.
Did you catch that? He couldn't provide a standard or cliched atheist response. The standard cliched or atheist response would have been anathema to P.Z. Myers, given what he just talked about in the earlier portions of the article that Darth is reading. He's already stated that he thinks street epistemology is hokum, right? He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the way they set people up. He doesn't like rhetorical tricks and traps. So he wouldn't have responded to Darth Dawkins' questions with some kind of pat answer or something like that in order to maneuver the situation around. It's funny to me that Darth doesn't realize that P.Z. Myers at this point is basically revealing, like, I don't have an answer one way or the other, and I'm not going to give him one just to do it. Darth is still, for some strange reason, chalking that up to being dishonest. It's amazing.
He just dismisses it as BS. But you know, even if what I said was irrational, I wouldn't have been concerned. Go ahead, catch me in a logical. Well, wait a minute. Why would you even have to post that if it's BS, right? Yeah, because he knows it wasn't BS. Go ahead, catch me in a logical contradiction, and smoke won't come out of my ears, and I won't stagger off to meltdown and failure. Well, what do you call this blog? Okay. My philosophy is that we are human beings, and human beings are not intrinsically logical. We fail all the time, myself included. I'm unbothered. Bring up a good contradiction.
You don't need to.
My views, and I'll think about it, because that's all you can ask of rationally flawed people. My perspective is that I personally am a bundle of disparate parts. I have biases. I have bits that I have assembled into a mostly functioning, shambling mess that I'm constantly patching, nudging, and revising, and that's okay. My name is Legion. Isn't that nice that he refers to the name of the demons in the Gospels? I contain multitudes. I was born.
Darth doesn't miss. He doesn't miss a thing. Oy.
The product of 4 billion years. See, here we go again, back to the dogma of evolution. Okay. More evolutionary creation story. 4 billion years of evolutionary forces that pushes my ancestors hither and yon. I was raised in an environment that changed my aspects. You may have been correct and may have been wrong. And then I spent my adult life struggling to test and evaluate, fix my thinking. You want to tell me that one module of my personality conflicts with another?
Fix
What's that?
what? I said fix what?
Yeah, I mean, this is
standard.
This is a train wreck of a response. I mean, this is. I mean, I am just. I just. Wow, this guy is just. Wow, he gets paid to teach. Wow. Woo.
Right, what's so bad about it?
You want to tell me that one module of my personality conflicts with another? I'll agree. It's probably true. It happens all the time. Okay. Well, but that's not what I said. I didn't say. I didn't say one module of your personality conflicts with another. I said your claim of atheism commits you or entails you to the denial of God. Right. That's all.
Which doesn't matter. Right. Like this is kind of the weird thing about this. In his quest to essentially eliminate agnosticism as a belief stance amongst skeptics, which doesn't matter one way or the other. He's gotten into this weird idea that, like, okay, well, once I get you into this binary position of God, no God, then I can tell you why that the no God position is totally irrational, because you absolutely need a God in order to make sense out of all this stuff. The only way he can do that is by face fucking ontology and epistemology with each other, which, if anybody has any kind of like sense of how these things work, isn't going to fall for that crap. Like the idea that like you have to reference God when you reference a fact. No, you don't. If the fact that you're referencing references God, because all facts reference God by definition, they all depend on him. It doesn't matter whether or not your limited understanding needs to reference them or not, right? They exist and you reference the fact, and they happen to be true. That's how it works. It's a weird way of putting forward an idea that like you basically need like a perfect epistemology in order to explain a flawed humanity. It doesn't make any sense. If we're sinful, we're either deceived, self-deceived, or just confused, right? Something's gone wrong with our ability to understand like whether or not God's real and loves us and all this other kind of stuff. Maybe it's Satan doing it. Maybe it's a sin nature doing it. Maybe it's an absence of, it's sin nature somehow affecting our ability to perceive the revelatory epistemology that's supposed to be broadcast to us, whatever. But for whatever the case is, what he's talking about does not make sense. It simply doesn't. And I still haven't heard him actually explain it to anybody that's been skeptical of it yet in a way that makes any kind of damn sense. Because it's not going to be something that's going to lead somebody to Jesus or God. It's not. He's basically trying to say, like, rhetorically, you must believe this. God is somehow inescapable. Okay, neat. Which God? I can believe in all the metaphysical properties that you're talking about in terms of a creator God and it being the foundation of absolutely all things, the foundation of all reality and all these other kinds of things. Doesn't have to be Jesus, doesn't have to be Yahweh. He still has a lot of work to do. But he denies this. Anyone can do what Pine Creek Doug did and just be like, hey, you know what? I want you to assume that I'm wrong about everything. Would you like to talk about Jesus? Watch this guy run. He doesn't want to prove Christianity. He just wants to dunk on atheism. It's one of his usernames, Duncan Atheism. Like, he just wants to blow that ship up. He wants to somehow prove that it's impossible to be an atheist. Okay. What if you did? Now you're right back to all the religions out there that are competing with each other. Congratulations. You ruled out the atheist position. Now you have all the Muslims, the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Jains, the Sikhs, that, help yourself.
Oh, and he immediately got a massive hemorrhoidal infliction of pain. I think of my life as rather a battered old jalopy traveling from where I started to some destination unknown, a destination often redirected by circumstances and by growing enlightenment. I occasionally break down and need to stop for a while to make repairs.
Enlightenment in an evolutionary world?
Yeah.
What is he talking
Maybe, P.Z. Myers should just start writing fiction, or prose. Maybe he could become a...
I think it was Parakeet ran in like, enlightenment. Is that possible in an evolutionary worldview? Jesus Christ. These dipshits.
Maybe he could become an internationally famous atheist poet, because that's what this sounds like.
I occasionally community college lecture.
Yeah, I occasionally break down and need to stop for a while to make repairs. I read that right. It's the human condition, rattled by chaos and trying our best. Wow, there's only one word to describe this response. It's
cope.
Cope. Wow. I mean, this is a guy who got that his atheism was exposed for what it is. He ran away like a scared Girl Scout. He had a hissy fit because he probably has students sucking up to him all the time, and this is his response to explain his just atrocious failure. What I can't abide, though, is these damnable logicians.
Again, I want to point out that he was pulled away by Canadian Catholic. Canadian Catholic is to blame for not allowing Darth Dawkins to interrogate him enough. But he keeps telling him, like, no, he ran. He ran like the coward that he was. The fact that this guy can suspend multiple narratives about a lot of different bullshit should tell you a lot about him. But, we'll go on.
They're ones who bunker down in a set of premises they find comfortable, and they claim are absolutes, and they spend their life building rack. Well, isn't that what you do with your billion? You claim evolution is an absolute, right? And
evolution is not an absolute. Darth Dawkins is a dumbass.
Believes that everything else follows from that, which are absolutes. This guy's so full of crap.
That is not true either. That's not the scientific method. Darth Dawkins is a dumbass.
Isn't funny. Okay, let's see. They're the ones who bunker down in a set of premises they find comfortable and they claim are absolutes, and then spend their life building rational defenses so that they never have to change, never have to face intellectual challenges, never experience the thrill of hammering a new idea into the rat's nest of circuitry.
It's like he's talking about himself.
Yeah. Instead, they prefer to pretend their ideas are all shiny and chrome, wired, perfect one day, and often with God. I mean, this is the ramblings of some guy who was royally made to look like a fool, not because it was a gotcha question, but because it was a legitimate question followed by an entailment that he refused to acknowledge. I mean, this is wow. I'm just dumbfounded that he actually penned this. I actually was probably more likely that somebody kidnapped him and tried to humiliate him, and then wrote this they kidnapped him, put him in a cabin, and then they got his password and they uploaded it to his blog in order to make fun of him. I mean, that makes more sense than he actually wrote this himself. Okay.
Why is this a train wreck?
Oh, it is. There's nothing of substance here. Nothing.
Yeah,
it's just like that.
I like the fact that he lays out at the beginning, he thinks that some of the approaches that these guys are making are as bad as the things he's hearing from skeptics. And Darth thinks there's nothing substantive there. He's being handed criticism from one skeptic about another group of skeptics, but nothing substantive is there in this blog post. It's like he just forgot the first part that he was reading, or it just didn't matter to him. The fact that P.C. Myers is criticizing and critiquing street epistemologists doesn't matter to Darth. I find that kind of weird. You'd think that he would be able to at least hand that off and be like, you know what, I got one thing good out of this. If I talk to somebody who claims to be a street epistemologist or approaches me with some kind of street epistemology tactics, I could nail them with P.Z. Myers' criticism of street epistemology. But he got nothing substantive from this. If he got nothing substantive from this, it's because he was not paying attention. This is the kind of fucking laziness from Darth Dawkins I expect. These are the ramblings of a 60-year-old bitter piece of shit, right? Like, he's not thinking about stuff. He's not paying attention. He's not making the right observations. He's just talking out his ass. He's got a script. He's got a viewpoint, and God damn it, he is going to tell all the kids this is how you're supposed to play ball. And if you don't follow the fundamentals, you'll never make state or whatever. Ugh.
That guy who made me look like a fool. Well, you know what? He's a bad guy. He probably didn't make his bed this morning. He probably has a booger in his nose, and he probably has some earwax he needs to clean. What a train wreck. One other thing outside the bounds of the video. About a half an hour before he wrapped it up, my granddaughter called. I had to refuse to pick up so I could finish. When a little later she called at the very end of the session, and we did get to talk for a while in a video hangout. What impressed me is that when I finally answered, she immediately summarized in her adorable little girl voice, "We called you, but you didn't answer. But we called again, and you did answer." What does this have anything to do with the price of tea in China?
This is his justification for his poor performance.
Wow. Okay, was he sucking on a bong when he wrote this? Ugh. Her language is getting better faster. What I almost noticed, though, was that she encapsulated this trivial event with a narrative, a story with a conflict and a resolution. How human of her. What this anecdote fits is what I think that's what we all do all the time. We take a chance, chaos, and random events, tie them up in a sweet little simple story, and already she's a master. We just have to be wary of thinking the story is the whole truth. Wow. This is...
Isn't that what he's doing here?
Wow. This is amazing.
Check out comment 23. He gets a little butthurt in comment number 23.
I mean, I am just dumbfounded at I mean, his performance was a train wreck, but this even confirms more that he's just pissed because his position was shown not to be coherent. Okay.
His position never really got off the ground. And here, this is something that's really fantastic about this. Darth Dawkins later goes on to complain in another video, goes and complains to Canadian Catholic that he's being cut off and not allowed to have a full discussion with these A-lister types, right, that are coming in there. Because usually what happens is they start to get a little irritated, they start to sound a little touchy, and Canadian Catholic, who has some social skills, picks up on the irritation and is like, hey, do you want to wrap this up maybe? Because that person was nice enough to show up for an AMA, right? That was the point. And then Canadian Catholic begs their indulgence to be like, hey, would you like to talk to this ghoul over here in the corner that everybody talks about? He's kind of infamous in the community. He'll ask you some crazy questions, probably drive you a little fucking nuts. Would you talk to him for a little while? You can get 3 to 5 minutes into a conversation with him before you lose your fucking mind. And I'm just going to let you know, all right, if you want to tap out as the host, that's totally fine with me. Please and thank you. I would love it if you came back and joined us again. That's what a good host does. Dawkins is there to basically like, oh, hey, you just opened me up on like P.Z. Myers or Graham Oppie or Massimo Pigliucci or any of these other people. Yeah, I'm just going to run my thing as long as I can. Well, I'll keep these guys here for 4 or 5 hours. Run them fucking ragged on my crazy ass epistemology, ontology confab thing. And then when they can't give me satisfactory answers, I get to declare victory. He complains to Canadian Catholic that he's not being given enough time, but he's on this broadcast, this portion of this broadcast in Discord, wherever this was occurring, saying that given the amount of time he had to talk to P.Z. Myers, he won. P.Z. Myers ran away. Canadian Catholic stepped in and asked P.Z. Myers if he wanted to continue, and P.Z. Myers said no. To which Darth Dawkins then later criticizes Canadian Catholic for interrupting him, for doing these kinds of things. He should be allowed an unlimited amount of time to try to browbeat these people into some kind of crazy-ass weird position or something. Even though they already were doing Canadian Catholic or whoever the moderators of that particular Discord a favor by showing up for an AMA. They're only going to be able to really allow him to be abused by somebody like Darth Dawkins for so long without that guy feeling like he gets that girl feeling that they got trapped into something fucking horrible. If they ever want to hope to get them back for anything, they can't let Dawkins chew on them for the better part of an hour. And like, oh, this was the reason that you brought me here? Ask me some softball questions in an AMA, and then feed me to this rhetorical fundamentalist dipshit that you had sitting over here frothing in the corner, tied up on a chain. That's the reason why this doesn't work, Darth. That's the reason Canadian Catholic is keeping you stiff-armed away from the AAA talent that they occasionally get into these things. Because you're an embarrassment. They let you out because you're a lulz cow, and they let you tease on some of the A-listers. They get to like bat at you for a little bit, and when they start sounding pissed, they offer them a ripcord to get the fuck out of there before they abandon not only you, but the channel that hosted them. That's the point. You dipshit. And now you're acting like this particular exchange that you had with P.Z. Myers was complete and full. It wasn't. And you acknowledge that with Canadian Catholic later.
Right? It's not that, you know, some of our ideas may, you know, not seem to cohere there and there. And oh my God, okay, let me just scroll down.
Yeah, comment 22, and then his response is comment 23.
All right, I'm scrolling down right now. Give me a second. Comment 22. Okay. All right. I'm not going to suffer through the audio. I'm not sure what the guy means by necessary to reference God as a precondition of facts, but my guess is that it boils down to something like this. Facts are only true only if God exists. Yeah, that's presuppositional apologetics, aka the transcendental argument for God. That's the Christian fundamentalist way of flipping over the board. And oh my God. Hey, Parakeet, remember how we were talking about how when we don't grant them fundamental parameters, when they don't reference God and they have to establish it themselves, they think we're being subversive and dishonest because we won't grant them their most cherished fundamental beliefs that exist without God? We're turning over the board. Okay,
we won't grant them their God.
This is classic self-deception, if ever. Okay, that's the Christian fundamentalist way of flipping over the board, and everyone, religious or not, should be aware. And that's what it is. I don't have to play by the rules because the rules include the statement I've already won. This is, I mean, there are teenagers that I have debated who have responded better than that statement right there. Aquinas would have made mincemeat of these guys. Okay, meh. Aquinas has his own problem.
They love evidentialists.
Oh, of course they do.
All right, had you ever an interaction with?
Let me just finish here. Okay, let's see. Aquinas says the 5 ways are close to being proved by Aquinas. Okay, P.C. Myers. Yeah, the guy who asked the stupid question is known as Darth Dawkins, aka Darwin's deity. Okay, gee, how did he know that I'm Darwin's deity? Obviously, he looked me up. Okay, he's a presuppositional twit. Okay. Okay, for street epistemology isn't the worst. Presuppositionalism is. I bet you he couldn't even. I bet you he could not even. Give a sentence or two explanation of biblical presuppositionalism. Okay. Yeah. So obviously, well, he was made. Look, how should I put this? The question that I asked him as a firebrand, internationally known advocate of atheism was a legitimate philosophical question about his position, which he was completely blindsided by. Right. And he knew that he couldn't give a coherent response. Right. And afterwards, he's so upset about it that
he. Oh my God, these ads.
He had to write that rambling nonsense that I just.
Yeah, he didn't. His responses to Darth's questions were coherent. The problem was that Darth's questions are not that coherent. So the fact that he wrote that particular thing later on. That sort of makes sense. Here's the thing, though, and this is the thing that Darth needs to try to fucking understand. If he got to talk to P.Z. Myers for the better part of 4 minutes, and it inspired P.Z. Myers to write an entire blog post about that kind of interaction, and it was the result of him having done an AMA on that same Discord channel for who knows how much time, right? He might have been on for an hour, 2 hours, I don't know. But it seems like to me, if he was on there for an hour and a half, 2 hours doing an AMA, and then the 3 to 4 minutes that he talks to Darth Dawkins is an inspiration for that particular blog post, that's a good reason for someone like Canadian Catholic to yank on your fucking leash to get that person to maybe come back, because that person's not going to talk to you again. If they want to bring that guy back for debates or appearances, discussions, panels, roundtables, whatever, they're not going to be able to do that if that person thinks that the only reason they're being asked to come back is to get fed to you down in their basement. That's not going to work. That's the reason why Canadian Catholic's doing that shit. And the fact that he's not telling you that overtly is because he's trying to not damage your ego too much. The reason for this is that you are simply put a lulz cow. You are being used because you attract a lot of attention because you cause traffic accidents. You cause pileups on train railways and bus stations and blow up airplanes and shit. You just make messes. It attracts a lot of attention and attracts a lot of views. It's the reason why I review your shit half the time. Most that, and because I know that any reviews of your stuff you take personally, and I take it personally too. So, but anyway, so hang on a second. Somebody's been asking me if he wants to come in here. Yeah, no, I just let Otangelo know. Like, if Darth would like to set up a discussion with me about any of these kinds of issues, let's schedule something to have a talk. But usually, if I'm trying to do one of these kinds of things, if he just wants to show up and just kind of derail it, I know what he's going to do. He's going to come in here and try to run an interrogation script on me, and that's going to derail me from making the points that I was making about the video that I'm trying to focus on. So I'm going to wrap this thing up, and I think this is actually done here. Let me play the rest of this out.
I just read. Wow, I'm going to save this. This is absolutely hysterical.
Okay, yeah, that part, yeah, that part I agree with. It is hysterical, but we're probably laughing at different parts. So anyway, that's pretty much it. There's more to this. I kind of ended up covering two videos at once because the other video was the Canadian Catholic one where he's like kind of bitching at him, and that one just came out a few hours ago. Let's see here. Let me get rid of the remove that. Stop that screen. All right. Oh, it looks like he actually is here. All right. Hello, Darth. Would you like to schedule a time to have a conversation? I got to wrap this up quick.
I'm here right now. Do you want to make any of your most important objections to me?
Well, it depends on the video that we're talking about. But if you'd like to have a discussion about something a little bit more pointed, let's maybe try to do that at a better time. What's a good time?
Whatever. First and foremost, what's your major objection with the views that I present?
All right. How long do you want to be here?
I've got about another, I would say, hour,
okay.
An hour and a half.
Okay, yeah, well, it's not going to take that long because I've already been on longer than I wanted to be. So
I did not listen. I was just informed that you were critiquing me again. I only heard a little bit of it. I really didn't hear anything of a substantive critique. Just vague generalizations of derision. So, what's your most important fundamental objection to my apologetic or my?
I think it's the part that starts off by asking someone if they deny referencing God as the ultimate foundation for facts. I don't think that follows, given that in your worldview, and maybe you can clear this up, I think in your worldview, you acknowledge that God is the necessary prerequisite for all facts, right?
Well, I usually don't ask the denial. I usually ask the question in the affirmative. I ask, do you believe that it is necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition of all facts? That's generally what I start off with.
Do you think that that's important, the way it gets put?
The question is designed to be precise, having dealt with hundreds, if not thousands, of atheists.
Okay, but why would it matter if a person references God when referencing a fact if the fact already references God?
The reason why I asked the question is because the last generation or so of atheists are essentially waving the white flag by not trying to represent what they really believe, and that is the falsity of God. So they hide behind laxism or I don't knowism. So when I ask this question, it shines the spotlight that they're really not neutral toward God, although they claim neutrality toward God. So they either positively believe that it's necessary to reference the necessity of God as the precondition of all facts, or they do not positively believe that. And then once they truthfully answer that question, I showcase what its logical entailment is, which makes them very uncomfortable.
But that's not a logical entailment.
What's not a logical entailment?
Just because someone doesn't reference God as the necessary precondition of facts doesn't mean, it doesn't follow that the necessary precondition of those facts isn't God.
Could you repeat that again?
Just because an individual doesn't reference God when referencing facts doesn't follow that those facts themselves don't reference God as the necessary foundation for those facts.
Follow. It does follow, and I'll explain to you why. Okay. If somebody positively does not believe that it's necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition, then they believe that it's not necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition. If one consequently believes that it's not necessary to reference God as the precondition of all facts, then it necessarily entails that they believe in the independence of facts from God. Okay?
How do you follow? How does that follow?
If you believe it's not necessary to reference God as the precondition of all facts, that's another way of expressing that facts are independent of God.
Okay, so are you saying that people can only know things that are true?
I don't know where that question came from. What I'm saying to that is, if somebody
can a person's epistemology be incorrect even though the ontology is correct?
Epistemology is reciprocal with ontology. They both need each other. But
sure, but my epistemology is not all.
Right,
it's not,
I know, but you're not focusing on the point here. Okay. If somebody positively believes it is not necessary to reference God as the precondition of both those facts, that is the same proposition, but stated differently, that they believe that facts exist independently of God. Different statements, same proposition.
So what?
Do you understand? Do you understand?
If their epistemology is stating that facts,
we're not talking about epistemology right now. Okay.
What are you talking about then?
We're talking about ontology.
But their ontology isn't dependent on a single observer's epistemology.
We're not discussing epistemology right now. We're discussing ontology. Okay.
We're actually discussing both. What point are you trying to make?
Okay. Do you understand that a proposition can be expressed in different statements? That a proposition is a truth bearer?
I think so. Yeah. What do you mean?
Okay. So when somebody utters the statement that they believe it's not necessary to reference God as the necessary precondition of facts, that statement possesses the same proposition as the statement that they believe in the independence of facts from God.
Right.
The same proposition, different statement.
Sure.
Now, if somebody positively believes in the independence of facts from God, then God being defined as the necessary precondition of all facts, then that God cannot logically coexist in a world where one or more facts exist independently of God.
That doesn't make sense.
No, that necessarily follows.
It does not necessarily follow. One is
hang
on. One is the extent of that person's knowledge, and the other is the extent of all knowledge that is possible. And those
we're not talking about their knowledge. We're talking about necessary entailment.
What you're saying is the only way they can make a statement about something they claim to know is if that thing is true.
No. Well, right now at this juncture, what we're talking about, not what they know or what they comprehend. What we're talking at this juncture is what is necessary entailment. Okay. Now,
right, but
how is there
you haven't been, hang on. If you want to say that there's a necessary entailment, you need to bridge the gap between the ontology and the epistemology. It's possible for a person to have a mistaken epistemology and the ontology to be intact.
Right now, okay? When we talk about God, the question is designed to define God as the necessary precondition of all facts, definitionally.
You
Okay?
can't. You're not defining it though. You can't define it.
Okay. When I define God,
you can't
okay?
define God as that. God must be that, right? If you define it, you're
No,
relying on your
okay.
reason to do so.
No, you're not understanding. Okay.
You're not understanding.
People
you can't
have
define God that way
okay,
using
okay,
your
listen,
reason.
I'm not going to waste my time if you're just going to keep on cutting me off and being belligerent and
You
argumentative.
came into my
okay?
channel. If you'd
Now,
like to leave, you
I
can
did.
leave at
I
any
did
time.
come into your channel. I did. Yeah, I can leave at any time, and I told you that I will if you're going to not stop cutting me off. Okay. So right now you're simply being argumentative. I don't mind if you disagree with me, but I do mind that you're argumentative and you keep cutting me off in mid-sentence.
We're going to be argumentative because this is kind of an argumentative topic.
Okay. Well, I've dealt with you before, you and your brother, and that's your go-to form of gaslighting. Okay, is to be.
You say that about every
argumentative.
atheist that you've ever dealt with. So.
Okay. Well, this is not every atheist, but the vast majority of atheists do. How shall I say? Go to the little tote bag of tricks to be argumentative or gaslighting.
Okay.
So
here's something I want to do. Here's something I want to do right now, and I want to point this out right now because you're starting to do it right now. I want you to focus on the ideas that we're discussing. If I have to hear, hang on. If I have to hear about how you feel you're being treated, or how you think that you're being misguided, or how any of your thoughts and feelings about yourself and your own representation on the channel, I want you to discard that snowflake bullshit. If you continue to waste time talking about how you feel about things, I'm going to kick you. I want you to pay attention to the ideas.
I'm not talking about how I
rhetorically.
feel. I'm talking about how you're actually conducting yourself. Number two.
No, I don't want to do no because that's based.
Okay,
that's
listen.
based on
I'm going to give you one more chance.
You're getting a.
If you want to do this shtick, okay, I'll go elsewhere. I won't waste my time with your idiocy. This is what you have done before. You have a prior history of doing. Is you try to launch. You try to go down semi-related circuitous rabbit trails. Now, what we're discussing is the necessary.
I have that? I don't think I actually have that history.
Okay, last chance. Okay, I'm not going to waste my time.
Is it my last chance or is it your last chance?
Okay,
you can leave. You can leave. All right, he's gone. Yeah, if he wants to have a discussion with me, Darth, if you want to do this, set up a discussion time at some point else. Don't come on here and try to interrogate me and then hijack my own video in order to run your shtick on me. If you want to do something where we have an actual discussion, let me know. You've got my email, jeffersonspatchcock@gmail.com. Send me an email or ask Otangelo to. I will talk to both of you if you would like to discuss any of these issues with you. But to get to the issue that you were talking about before, I don't understand what you're doing in terms of your inability to sort of reconcile this weird notion I think that you have with ontology versus epistemology. This idea that if somebody is out there saying that this can be thus and so, it must be the case that it's somehow thus and so. A person could be deluded, they could be confused, they could be led astray by the evil one, something like that. There's lots of different reasons why a person's epistemology could be faulty. It doesn't necessarily reflect on the total ontology that's out there. This seems like a weird thing that your basic script does not take into account. So anyway, sorry folks, if you guys were hoping for a longer conversation between me and Darth, that was as long as it went. I'm going to wrap this up now, I guess, unless anybody else would like to come in. I posted the link earlier if you guys would like to do like a, without closing this down, party has ended, but the after party has just begun. If anybody would like to come in and ask questions or leave comments or anything like that, what time is it? It's 4:13. Okay, yeah, I can stay in for about another 20 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes. If you guys want to come in, click the link and jump on in. We can bandy a few things about, and then I'll wrap things up. Let's see. Hayes, what a joke. He knew he was going to get destroyed. Thank you, Laurie. I didn't think that he was going to get destroyed, but what is your picture from? Benghazi. Benghazi, that picture that I'm using is a little diagram, a little illustration that GeoSam made for me. He and I had a discussion about what I thought when I thought of Jefferson Spatchcock, and I gave him a weird story, and I think it kind of, he actually told me later on that it kind of like screwed with his brain for a while, and then he came up with that. So, but I kind of like it. It's like a Millennium Falcon, but it also looks like a chicken. kind of thing. It's like a spaceship and a chicken thing. So
I think you should have gone more stealth fighter, less line up.
Well, I told him I wanted something that was kind of like, kind of like steampunk, chrome bomber kind of thing, with Thomas Jefferson actually flying the thing, and it looked like a chicken, but it was all chrome. And when I told him that, he was just like, I don't think I'm going to do that. And like, I don't blame you. Like, I got, I got tastes.
I'm your twin brother,
and they're tasteless.
I'm your twin brother, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around that particular image. So,
I just wanted to say, let's see.
Is he gonna come back? Is Darth gonna come back? Because I'd like to know. I'd like to know when I gaslit him.
Well, Simon says you were being disrespectful by disagreeing with him, bud. Yeah, I think here's the thing that bothers me about this take on it. Like, if I have to listen to him talk about like how he's treated, or how atheists act, or how Christians are better, or any of this other kind of snowflake bullshit, like facts don't care about your feelings, bro. Right? Like he's supposed to be this right-wing guy. Like, stop telling me about how, don't give me this nursery rhyme bullshit crap. Like, oh, you treated me bad. This is how you behave about things. This, like you need to be super, like, he's not a fucking talent. I don't need to treat you tender. If you can't hack it, fuck off and die somewhere in a ditch. I don't need to give a shit about your sensibilities or any of your other special conditions. If you need time to take a breather or any of that other kind of crap, go do that. But don't give me this horseshit about this is what atheists do, and this is how they mislead, and this is what I've been dealing with for 30 or 40 years of my life. Like, yeah, when you were beating your kid, yeah, I guess this probably irritating the shit out of you. You had to take that out on, whatever. Oh, Tangela's here. Hi, Tangela. Boop.
Hi.
Hello. Sorry, I was kind of ripping on Darth a little bit because he did kind of irritate me because he left in a huff because I was trying to lay out some ground rules because it is my channel, and of course, being the diva that he is, he had to like pull his cape up and leave. So.
Yeah, I mean, each one of us has a way to interact with others, and I like to leave the other part to finish the sentence and listen and then to answer. And Darth maybe has another style and he likes to interrupt, but you guys do the same thing. It was something which was happening from both sides.
Here's my problem with this. If Darth is of the opinion that he wants to like
try to say that he's asserting.
Where is that coming from?
That was coming from Otangelo.
Okay, Tangela just dropped out. I think maybe he had the Discord thing going on because Discord was listening to this. Somebody put that in the live chat. Like, yeah. Darth's got his Discord buddies listening in on this. Here's the problem that I have with this.
He's probably we'll be able to hear. Wait, hey Jeff, we'll be able to hear about his comments. We'll hear Darth Dawkins. That'll come out later, either tonight or tomorrow. Tom Rabbit will have a video of them bitching about how this conversation went.
He might. I don't know. I'm not that. Yeah, I don't know. But here's Tangela. Now that you're back, this is what bothers me about this. If he's going to come onto this channel and he's going to have a conversation, if I'm on his channel and he wants to be able to say as much as he wants, as long as he wants, I have no problem just shutting up. But what usually happens, and this is what's happened, the only time I've ever talked with Darth Dawkins before has been on someone else's channel. It was actually, I think the only time I've ever talked to him before was on Jesus is Lord's channel. And he ran into that thing and he just railroaded the whole thing. And so if I tried to get an interjection in or tried to raise a point or something like that while he was just monologuing for minutes, it didn't matter that it was someone else's channel. He just took the whole thing over. And when he's on my channel, if I raise a point or raise an objection, I have no problem letting him talk. I don't have a problem with that. But when I want to interrupt him and tell him I don't want to hear him monologue about how atheists treat him, or about how atheists act, or about the conditions of YouTube theists conversations in the YouTube community thus far exist. I don't want to hear that shit from him. I just want to hear his ideas, and I want to get them as concisely as possible. I'm tired of listening to his bullshit rhetoric, because what will end up happening is he He will deliver a bunch of information up to a certain point. You'll provide him a counterpoint. He'll turn around and then run this fucking ragged ass bullshit line about how these people are stupid. They don't understand his points. They can't understand his points because they're degenerates or they're losers or they're liars or trolls or whatever. He keeps doing that kind of crap without engaging the counter argument. He does it as a way to stretch out time. It exhausts people. It taxes their time, taxes their patience, and it cuts things off. It's a bullshit move. He needs to stop doing it. If you have any way of actually telling him to knock that shit off, that would be great. But he takes this stuff so personally, I don't think that he will ever give that up. Who is Darth's lawyer? I will add them now. Darth's lawyer. Hello.
Yes, I'm here because I want to make sure that
Peter, you son of a bitch! God damn it!
I want to make sure that if you're referencing facts regarding my client, that those facts are referencing God, and if not, then I would like to have you cease and desist.
Desist,
Peter. I demand if you want to continue this, I demand that if I visit the Netherlands, you owe me a drink. We have to meet up, and you owe me a drink.
hey, Jeff. The restraining
I'll be more than happy to buy you a drink.
Okay.
The restraining order is you have to stay at least 5 live streams away from Darth Dawkins at all times.
Did somebody say that? Did somebody say that in the live stream?
No, I just came up with it.
Oh, okay.
You have to make sure you stay five streams away from him.
Keep in mind that if you want to visit me, you need a negative COVID test that is 48 hours or less old.
I'm working on that. My second dose will be the 19th, and then I should be good and clear by the 6th of May.
Yeah,
So-
the Germans are considering us a real threat now, which is kind of funny.
That is funny, yeah. Because before they never did.
No.
Except for what was it, Project Citron or whatever, the resistance group in the Netherlands? They took that shit seriously.
There were several they took seriously, but now we're a real threat. By the way, hi Otangelo.
Yeah, hi, lawyer. Have you ever been at his Discord channel where he's?
No. I did listen to Darth's review of the talk that he had with a guy called Peter Drucker, and sounds familiar, by the way, and it really sounded like he was talking about me, but I feel really sorry for you, Otangelo, because he literally said in that review that he went on speed stream because I was picking on you.
Ooh. I want to say, I'm sorry, this is off topic. I want to say, because I owe it to him, Tom Rabbit. I texted it, but I owe Tom Rabbit a big thanks because he's been collecting these videos of Darth Dawkins, and I owe him a thanks because I've been reviewing them and not entirely giving him credit.
Now you're going to be part of Tom Rabbit's collection.
I might, I might end up in the collection. That'd be cool.
And part of me being here is to apologize to Otangelo for what Darth said about him, because I don't think Otangelo needs help, not even when I'm picking on him. Just saying. You can convey that to Darth. You do not need help.
What did Darth Dawkins say that Otangelo needed help?
Yeah, I was picking on him, and that's why he joined Speed Stream and had his short conversation with me.
To be honest, Peter, I was actually delighted because he basically answered your question, and I really didn't have an answer to the point which you were making, because I didn't study this for a long time, for many years. Because I am really focusing on
remember
other
I
topics.
lectured you. Remember I lectured you. You should study your Bible more. Just kidding.
Oh well.
But he didn't have a real answer either. I mean, he came up with a really good story, but not buying it.
I did. And next time, if someone is asking me about the topic, then I will remember what he said and I will simply repeat what he said because I think it's compelling.
I don't know. So another thing, tell him that he needs a better producer for his movie trailers. The one that he had on what was it, Supreme Leader Stream, the last one, that one was pathetic. No, I take it no one here knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I do want to know now.
You want to know? Okay, let me see if I can arrange that, because I made a short video that I put out on Twitter, so I should be able to share that here as well.
What time is it? 4:25. That's fine.
Hello.
Hello, Tanya.
How you doing?
Or I should say Athena / Midnight / Albino Temptress.
Wait,
Whatever.
I'm not the only one bitching about the name?
No. I told you, Peter. I think like my coworker said, I think I have a lot in common with the Dutch. I tend to be super critical of very superficial things. So,
like, I've been complaining about the name offline twice this week. So,
okay.
Yeah. By the way, Jefferson, I have some good news. Well, I'll tell you after the stream ends, but yes, good news for me.
Oh, I thought you maybe had good news for me, because that would have been great. But
well,
no,
I mean, the good news for you. The good news for you is that I'm on here, so your stream just got better.
Okay. Yeah, it's good news for me because a friend has got good news. Of course. I'm not being completely superficial. Of course.
I mean, hey, you know what? Let's just say I haven't been happier in months.
I wanted to point out Benghazi posted this one. Schedule Nicola at the same time as Dee Dee if you really want to start a fire. Yes, I think that would be fun. But yeah, I didn't know. Like, I thought that was pretty good. I don't know that anyone's had an interaction like the interaction that I had with Darth Dawkins today in a long time. Like, it was a little bit different. Like, usually people kind of settle in and get ready to take the interrogation, but we were kind of going back and forth for a decent amount of time until I got pissed off. So
usually it's not Darth getting kicked.
Yeah, well, and that was weird. Like, because I didn't kick him. Like, he left. He fled.
Oh, he left. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't kick him. I told him, I was like, look, here's how it's going to be. I don't want to hear any of your sad stories about how you're treated poorly or, the people misrepresent you or any of that kind of stuff. He left. He took off.
Yo,
I'm like, okay.
You want to hear his movie trailer? It's funny.
Sure. Let's see. Is this safe for kids? Never mind.
Yes.
My thing's not safe for kids. But...
Entirely.
Okay.
Submitted for your approval. Coming to a theater near you. The one man who can take down Darth Dawkins.
In a world plagued with philosophy and rational thinking, one man stands alone to destroy Darth Dawkins.
Yeah, the movie is called The One Man.
What the fuck is that?
Well, you know what? I guess they're trying to come up with this new movie line because they've heard of this other new movie that's coming out. Would you like to hear the intro trailer to the new movie?
Oh, yeah.
And here we go. The Adventures of Darth Dawkins.
Darth, you remember
Coming
that?
to a theater near you.
Oh God, that's loud as fuck. What the fuck
Okay.
did we just watch?
That was Darth.
See, even Otangelo was laughing.
That's the last stream they did on the Supreme Leader. I had to grab that and put that out on Twitter. It got a lot of responses.
By the way, Peter, I wonder who the fuck was who the fuck is Darth Lawyer? That I find out it's you. Like that's fucking beautiful.
It's not Peter. It's that eagle. Peter's talking to his lawyer.
That's Darth's lawyer.
No, here's the thing. Like when I see an image of Peter with a bald eagle, I don't think it's automatically absurd, and I want to know why. Like I'm really kind of disturbed. I that didn't alarm me initially. Like it's like, oh, that's Peter with a bald eagle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I just assumed
it's a bird I play with during summer.
I don't want to hear about it.
It makes you look pretty regal, right? Pretty important, pretty badass in my opinion.
I don't
like here you are having an ego on your just like wow. That's
but this kind of random stuff that happens to Peter, it also happens to like Lithuanian terrorists who just like show up in photos with endangered species. So when Peter does this kind of stuff, I'm just like, what are you doing?
So what are you saying? What are you saying?
You know what's even weirder, Jefferson? The bird's name is the same as mine. I'm De Tucker. He's Tucker. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
And I could link you to the website to prove it. The bird's name is Tucker.
I'm sure you could. I just please do, because that will ground things. That'll ground things. Yeah, please do that. Because right now I'm starting to think that you might be a character in the John Wick movies. I'm just starting to get that impression.
Nope. Hold on. I'm on the website. I'm on the website. Just need to find the bird.
Wait, you got to pick between a selection of them?
Yes.
There's been multiple times that Peter has been photographed with special birds from special countries of special circumstances. I don't want to just show you the Captain America Falcon. God, come on.
Okay. Found him.
Let's see.
Here you go.
Oh,
there you go.
You're putting it. Okay, let me see.
Put it in the chat. That's him.
Nice.
Nice. All right. So does anybody else have anything to bring in on this? I'm really kind of. How long did I get to talk to Darth Dawkins? I think 2 minutes.
Well, wait, hold on. Did he actually come in here, like in this stream?
Jefferson. I just have to say it. If you make claims that need evidence, so extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Which is what I just did about the bird having the same name as I do. Just saying, if I make a claim, I can back it up.
I mean, yeah, unlike some people who accuse you of something, but never mind, moving on.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, like, Peter, you're like, hey, you know what? That bald eagle's name is Peter. Extraordinary claims, motherfucker. Like, that's not an extraordinary claim. They could have just named him Peter.
Yeah, but it's not Peter, it's Tucker. And Tucker is also the region, what the people are called in the region I live in. They're called Tuckers.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
True thing. And the name De Tucker doesn't come from my region originally. The first ones recorded were in the UK.
So,
which I didn't know, but learned recently when I was asked about it.
So who's going to start the betting pool for when Darth shows back up to Jeff's channel at any time?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not this one necessarily.
I
just
gotta
again.
highlight. I gotta highlight this one. Hang on. Let me find this one. This is good. Jefferson Spanish guy. Have you guys ever considered doing a stream on biblical slavery?
Yeah, invite Veckel and G-Man for that one.
Oh, like yeah, that's it's always kind of weird. It's always kind of weird.
Remember, everybody,
Like,
remember to come prepared with plenty of Averbeck for the fundamental Christians.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's always it's always interesting and funny, you know, to see people like G-Man and Veckel defend slavery, given. Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't think it's not interesting to see it happen. I mean,
Well,
it's
no.
interesting in the sense like you're
should-
watching maggots crawl out of a corpse, or you're watching like a slow motion train wreck or something. Yeah, it is.
Like it's weird,
interesting in that
you know?
sense. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Jefferson, and you should make it a two-piece series, because in the second one you could have Von Helton about the fact that more than 51% of slaveholders in America were black.
The two glass bowls.
I can't talk to Von Helton anymore because the last couple of times I talked to him, I was yelling at him. I think about his kid. Like, yeah, I was a little bit.
No, you didn't yell at him about his kids. You got him to yell about his kids when you said, "Hey, didn't you have your kids taken away from you by some government agency?" And he goes, "No, that's not true. I got them back."
Wait, hold on, Darth Dawkins or Von Helton?
No, Von Helton. He just lost them for the 12th time.
Why?
I'm
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
No, I know the system is fucking broken. Why does he? Jay, holy shit!
Sorry, put dishes away.
Someone's doing dishes.
No, but I'm saying the system is fucking broken, right? Why the fuck is he getting them back at all?
Actually, I like this one. You need to start telling Darth that Dr. Josh is your foundation. I actually think that what I need to do is start telling them that Megan is the foundation of all logic and reasoning, and then Dr. Josh just happened to marry her, and then like you need to prove me wrong, right? Because I think Dr. Josh has tapped into something there.
Jesus Christ!
Wait, that's not even appropriate, Jeff.
What?
Tapped? Really?
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that way. God damn! Don't make it gross.
Jay is living up to his moniker.
I'm not the one talking gross shit.
I wasn't. I didn't intend it that way. I meant that she's the font of all knowledge.
Jeff, shut the fuck up.
Hey, come on.
This is funny as fuck. I love this.
That ship is sinking.
But anyway, yeah, it's sinking because you came here. You made it bad.
Oh, okay, Darth. Make it about me.
Well, I'm going to make it about somebody else because now I'm a YouTube celebrity thanks to Darth Dawkins. In all seriousness, if Otangelo has a line on him, it is kind of too late for that. Otangelo, if you do have a line on him, if Darth Dawkins wants to have a discussion about any of the issues that I bring up when I usually criticize them, which I have been recently,
make it moderated.
Yeah,
have
make
somebody
it.
babysit.
Yeah, we can either moderate it. We can bring it in. Like if he's got some.
There's not Canadian Catholic. If anybody's familiar with those videos. Woo.
Yeah,
Canadian Catholic.
There's apparently been a falling. There's a bit of falling out there. But if Darth wants somebody, if he has a suggestion for a third party, or if you do and he agrees to it, let us know. I will gladly set it up and we'll have a discussion. I just, when he comes, here's the thing. This is what bothers me. I end up doing a discussion or a video, and I'm trying to like point out points and stuff, and then he pops in and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna defend myself." Well, fantastic. If you want to defend yourself, I just gave a bunch of comments in the video that I just did talking about the stuff that you're talking about. And then he's like, "Hey, why don't you lay out for me what you have a problem with?" I just did in the video that I haven't even finished yet. That's the problem that I have with Darth. He just like happens to show up and like, hey, I want you to like lay this out for me because I'm Darth Dawkins and I deserve it. No, you don't. Like, look at some of these the criticisms that I'm laying out in some of these videos, and then come at me.
Okay, we can do following. We can set up something where each side has 2 minutes to talk, and then give the microphone over to the other side to respond.
Because nobody's ever had to do that before with Darth Dawkins.
And that's not actually, for me, Otangelo, that's not actually a thing. If he wants to take as much time to explain his points or whatever, that's fine. That's not my problem. It's just that usually what happens is that if he does show up to talk about like any criticisms that I'm giving, it's after the fact. I already gave my criticisms on the video. So if he wants to like discuss them, he could just make another video and put them out there and be like, hey, this is where Jefferson's getting things wrong or something like that. He doesn't do that. He just shows up and then he goes right into his interrogation.
No, Jefferson. That's basically what he does all the time on Discord. When he takes a stream and then he criticizes what is being said in the stream. You see that him doing it every day. And I mean, if you both cannot have a conversation where one doesn't interrupt the other side, then we can make it moderated. But I doubt he will be willing to join again. Now he will just say, well, I'm unable to have a conversation with Jefferson, so I will not join his stream anymore. But I mean, if I can convince him, I mean, we could do it in that way, that each side has 2 minutes to respond to the other one and do it moderated.
Oh, sure. Okay. If that's what you would need to do in order to make him more comfortable, that's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I listened to him for weeks now, and what I've seen, each one of us has a style to interact with others, and he likes to talk, and he doesn't like to be interrupted. So I let him talk as much as he wants, and when I see a point which I can make, then I make it quickly. And I mean, he doesn't really like it if you talk for 2-3 minutes. He will interrupt you. That's his way of interacting.
But he can talk for as long as he.
Can I make a small suggestion, Otangelo? When you go on his Discord server, could you please not use the sentence again, Darth, can we continue our role play? Because that had me fantasizing for over a week.
Wait,
and it was not. It wasn't pretty.
God damn! Holy shit! Did you really say that? No.
I saved it. I saved it. I'm putting together a soundboard. That's going to make the soundboard.
Oh God, Peter, you and those soundboards.
No,
Peter, you were simultaneously the worst person that I've ever known and also my hero. I don't know how.
Oh,
no, listen, Peter. My point is, and I have said that to Darth many times, and I said it today to him again. My problem is that when I started to listen to him, my impression was that the counterpart didn't understand what he actually was trying to convey and to say. And I also don't understand and have had difficult times to understand what you actually try to say. And my aim is to boil it down, or to say, that you say it in a way that I can actually understand it, because I think you are not saying things which are illogical, but maybe they are easy for you to understand, but you are not grasping that others maybe have difficulty to understand what you're saying. So I want that you say it in other words, or in a way that people or me actually can understand what you're saying. I mean, today he said, oh, I don't agree with you, but I mean, it would be helpful if he would understand that. And that was actually my aim, when I don't understand something, to ask him that he explains in another way that it can be understood. That's why I suggested to him, let's make a role play, and when I don't understand something,
no, let's not do role play.
No, okay, Otangelo, here's the thing. When it comes to understanding, I don't think Darth understands what he's talking about. And here's why. If Darth asks you a question and you ask him to repeat the question because you didn't hear it because there was another noise somewhere, he's never, and I repeat, never able to repeat a question he just asked. It's always going to be a completely different question. And
Well-
I've watched a lot of your conversations with Darth, and it's funny. You need some coaching being the atheist on the server because
That
you're
seems
making
kind of
you're
odd.
making terrible mistakes. But
Like, okay,
what I wanted to say and wanted to say to you face to face, you are better than Darth Dawkins will ever be.
by a
So
landslide.
please do not take cues from him because it's only going to make your position worse.
I don't.
I agree,
That's
Peter.
that's my
well,
2 cents.
I disagree with you, Peter. I incorporate only what I actually agree and what I understand what he's saying.
Okay, do you agree with?
Or what the
Do you agree
presupposition approach actually is?
Yeah, do you agree that you should presuppose the existence of God?
Yes,
Why?
because God revealed himself to the natural world and through direct revelation in the Bible.
Okay. So hang on.
He didn't because if that were the case, he would have revealed himself to me, and he didn't.
Hang on. Let's wrap that up a little bit. I want to wrap this up because this has been going on for a long time, and
Not that long.
It's
4:46. Yeah.
I mean, it's an hour and 31 minutes, but it's your stream. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to end it. Anyone that's in here, if you want to continue to have a conversation, jump on in. Anybody that's got a link, the link actually is. I'm going to.
You might want to repost it.
Post it. That if you want to come in, we're going to be available off air for something a little bit bluer. Not necessarily. But that's there. If you want to come in
role
and have
play?
no, God. Peter, you and I are going to have a
Jeff,
conversation. Oh my god! Oh
Yeah,
my god!
That was
All right,
that was
so-
perfectly fair. If Peter didn't do it, I was going.
So anyway, the link's there. If you want to click on that, come on in. I'm going to end the broadcast now. It's been over an hour and a half, so drop that out. Take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Yep.
And
Bye.
thanks.
Bye,
Thanks
everyone.
for viewing.